welcome to National Veterans Alliance, and we want to thank you for joining us today. We have a power-packed program today, and I am so excited with our guest. I'm Deb Doherty, and I am the founder of National Veterans Alliance and the founder of our nonprofit, DDS for Vets. And our mission, our goal is to serve our veterans who have served us, so that is quite an honor for us. But I'm going to get to today's show now because we have the most exciting guest right now. And I'm actually going to read my little blip about this guest because there's so much great information. I don't want to miss anything because I'll tell you what, he just deserves all this attention that we want to be able to give him. So let me tell you about him. He spent 14 years in the military as a Green Beret, Special Forces medic. He has survived the most unimaginable places that we wouldn't even be able to survive in, but he has. Africa, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan, to name a few. His extensive Special Forces medical training is considered to be one of the best on the planet. So I want to welcome you, Fred Lewis, and it's such an honor to have you here. I'm so excited about this. I couldn't sleep last night. I was like so excited about this. So thank God for Google.
Yeah, right. Well, sometimes yes.
Right. So per military.com,
okay.
Upon leaving the military, you struggled a bit to find the career path that you wanted to take.
Yeah.
And that's what I find with all the veterans that we've helped and they come in, is that once their military career is over and they're going into the civilian life, there's that void, or what do I do now?
Yeah, the transition.
So, yeah, that it's extremely hard. But you have received your master's in education, and from what I understand, you tried teaching and coaching. And from there, you landed on a TV show, Gold Rush.
Yeah.
So tell us about your journey, because this is like fascinating to leave
crazy.
and to do the teaching and then all of a sudden to be on this Gold Rush program.
Well, yeah, so I didn't finish my master's. I was close to finishing it and then decided to change career paths, and it took about a 2-year stint getting a bachelor's in web design, which I also quit.
Great. Okay.
Then it's always for me been, I'll try anything. But if it doesn't feel like it's like being a Green Beret or being in the military, like how that felt me,
That's instilled
then
in
it's
you.
just a waste of time. So I bounce around a lot. And the TV show came from just bouncing. I went from being a teacher, and I loved being a teacher. I was a paramedic instructor in Fort Bragg at the Q course for a long time. I loved that job. Ended up having a stroke and had to leave that job.
Oh, wow.
And went to Maui, to Hawaii.
Yep.
Had a great time there, and that got me into fitness, and it kind of snowballed into, I went to American Ninja Warrior twice. Didn't make it on the show. It wasn't good enough. But I tried. I did
Who do we call?
Yeah, you might be able to get some footage of me falling. I did another show called Steve Austin's Broken Skull Challenge. Just kept throwing my name out there because I realized my story was powerful.
Yeah.
And my transition was, I would call, poor. 5 to 6 years of taking pills, leading to inevitably almost killing myself. And for some reason, my mind just said, you're being dumb. Stop this. And everything changed, and I focused my life on being better. And there was like you said, there was nobody there. My family was there, but I was hiding it from everybody.
Of course.
Because that's what we do.
Yeah, and you guys did that very well.
Yeah, it's easy to do,
Yeah.
unfortunately. It really is. It's easy to put on a facade and pretend while your brain's telling you other things. It's really easy. So, it all snowballed from me making the decision to stop being that guy and to move on and to be inspired by other guys that had done that. I got involved in adaptive sports. I did the Warrior Games twice. Got to hear a lot of guys' stories and gals' stories of how they were way worse off than I was and doing better in life. And that just pushed me further, and eventually got through the Ninja Warrior and Steve Austin thing, got casted for other things. And Parker Schnabel needed someone to protect his ass in Papua New Guinea, and I fit the bill.
I looked that up because I had never heard about Gold Rush, and I'm just watching this, and I'm like, people like glutton for punishment. It's like, why are they doing this?
It sucks.
I mean, it was, it definitely wasn't a 5-star vacation.
No. None of the things I've done on TV have been 5-star at all. I wish I talk to Kara about this all the time, my wife. I'm like, why couldn't we have gotten on a baking show or traveling the world show? Why do we have to do
definitely.
this? it's torture. So
So what do you think the real reason? I mean, so you're a Green Beret, and you have seen the most horrific things. Um, do you think part of that, and even with the gold rush, you're in the jungles of all jungle, is that just a place because you're familiar with? Is it, I don't want to say a comfort level, but is it something you're so familiar with? You're just, yeah, this is kind of where I
I
trained. I was, that you belong. I don't even really know what word to use.
yeah.
But it's just something where, yeah, I've been there, done that, and you know what? I'm okay being there.
I thought about that a lot actually. Why I keep bouncing around and why I try to gravitate towards these types of things. I think it's just lifestyle. Jumping out of planes kind of brings your body to a certain level, and if you lose that, it's really hard to feel happy again. Honestly, it's like what job
Would you
is
say it's the adrenaline?
not adrenaline. It's just
No?
a fulfillment of doing,
Okay,
doing
fulfillment.
something complicated that not many people would want to do and succeeding at it. And that sense of fulfillment is something that I'm addicted to it, I think.
I think all the Green Berets are, because we have Alan Terrell, who also too, he's airborne, and to this day he's still jumping out of planes, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I'll have to put you up with him as
Yeah,
well.
definitely.
I mean, it's just
They train us to be the gray man, but also to achieve more than most people achieve. So it's hard to be the gray man when you get out if you want to achieve things again.
yeah.
And I don't know, that's my drive, I guess.
Well, you have to do what drives you.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, I want to be
and-
happy.
But
That's
but thank God you're succeeding, and yeah,
that's
you're
the hard thing
succeeding.
to judge as
Yeah,
success.
I mean, we all have a different definition of succeeding, and I think it's just small steps at a time.
Yeah. For me, it's always been inspiration. Feeling how my life changed through being inspired made me want to inspire other people, and that's just
But that's pure success, and that's what it is. I mean, seriously, because we have worked with so many of the veterans, and that's what it is in part of with the PTSD, is finding programs that work. There's no cure for PTSD. Everything that you all have been through, nobody would know. It's amazing that you even survived that, to be quite honest with you. And I mean that in a very respectful manner. But there are certain programs out there that really help. So, like with us, the service dog, we have the
Yeah.
counselors. We actually, and I think you'd be interested in this too, I want to get you with Michael Geyer. He's an actor producer out of LA. And he did a documentary. And it was all the service guys that, came back. They're battling. I don't want to say they're battling with the PTSD, and different programs that they went through and how it's helped them. But the number one thing that they all have mentioned is when they start to help others.
yeah,
Your brothers, your
Yeah.
sisters, when you start that, you're actually healing,
definitely.
yourself. And so he's actually going to be making a movie from that, and that's what we're doing. Part of what we're doing is raising the funds to go ahead and produce this movie so we can go ahead and hit the masses. So
That's cool.
it's wonderful that you've been on TV. So guess what phone call I'm making?
Yeah, I'm used to all the.
That's right. That's right. So let me ask you, a lot, with the VA, it's not all bad, but the majority of it is not, they're not getting the quality
Yeah.
care.
I was hoping you were
They're
going to ask me
not
to talk
getting
nice about it. Yeah.
the time frame. So what did you experience for yourself when you got out of the service? And to me, be candid.
Yeah, I
Be
was
bold.
hoping you weren't asking me to talk good about the VA because I was like, oh man, that wasn't my experience. In my opinion, I've done a lot of research on this since I got out because I want to try and create a platform to help veterans. And the VA is just not, they're not open to developing the right type of system to help vets. It's just not, it's not present. They don't hire people with combat trauma to be therapists. That's a
Right.
big miss.
Right.
When I go to the therapist, and I haven't been in probably 10 years, I've been to every program the VA had for PTSD. And most of the therapists I went to were crying by the time I was done. And I'm like, how are you helping me? if you don't even understand. Obviously, you don't
Exactly.
understand. You're crying. And that's one miss. Another miss is the medication. I think this is our country as a whole
Yeah.
using medication to make money. Um, it's more of a what pill is going to fix you than how can we fix you mentality, in my opinion. So when I went into the VA, I was on probably, gosh, I'm just going to make a number up, 10 pills, 10 different types of medication. Medication for high blood pressure, which is weird because I'm super healthy. Medication for nightmares. I don't dream. Medication for like just weird things they would put me on to try and fix. And as a person on all those pills, you just take them because you want to get better. And they reached a point where I overdosed on morphine because I was on morphine. I wasn't like, buying it or anything. Um, and I was like, I need to come off everything. I'm a medic. I understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
My brain isn't working right. They have me on seizure meds, I think, that were causing the seizures. And I was like, I'm done. I need to come off of it all. And I went to the VA to tell them this. And my doctor's like, oh, no, no, no. We'll put you on Percocets. And then eventually I ended up flipping the table, getting put in handcuffs, and walked out of the VA. And at that moment, I went home and I just flushed everything down the toilet and I went cold turkey. And it was the worst 2 months of my life.
I'm sure.
And, but coming out of the end of that, it kind of woke me up to the whole scenario. And I had felt like I was funneled from the time I got out into the VA system to get that rating, to get the pills that they needed to put me on, and to continue the therapy so that they could continue to get funds to keep the whole thing going. That's how I felt. And when I,
But they all fit. I mean, I'm hearing this over and over again.
it's not a conspiracy. So then I decided, I don't need the VA. I got my rating to be permanent in total, so I didn't have to actually go back and keep proving to them that I was sick. And that separation was everything for me because then I could go to civilian doctors
Yeah.
and start seeing how civilians were treating me and talking to me. And it was like, whoa, this is different.
Yeah.
And no medication, and started working out, and everything started changing. My whole life started getting better. Still had the pain, still had the issues with what I had been through, and still had some developing to do in all the areas I was
Yeah.
disabled. But I was doing it clear-minded and without confusion from other people, and it was like, why is the VA even here?
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I think a lot of it too is just, the funding, and there's only so many hours in a day, and unfortunately, they're so short-staffed. But the quality,
Yeah,
of
but they
the
don't have the
staff.
right staff there.
Exactly, and that's the problem too. We had a Marine who were able to get in a facility to take him off the drugs and the alcohol, and he was doing really, really well, and all of a sudden he has a stroke. And I had received a phone call like at 2 a.m. He was really depressed, and he said the doctor said I'll never walk again. But then he made the comment, I feel tingling in my legs. I'm like, well, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm just thinking like,
That's
a
feeling.
mom?
Yeah.
You got tingling in your legs? Okay, there's something going on there.
Yeah.
I said, I'll call you in the morning. Called them in the morning, and they said that they would not start therapy for 45 to 60 days. I'm like, you can't lay there this whole time. You can't. So I got in touch, them at Stadium, because the ball players, they had their own facility for a PT and all that. Hooked him up with Dr. Benson, and 8 weeks later was our formal military style gala where we present the dog. 8 weeks later, he walked in on a cane.
Nice.
So see, that's the difference, and that's what we're trying to bridge, that gap where we'll get somebody else to help you. We'll get somebody else, and at no cost to the veteran. But we definitely have to have more funding. I mean, on a local level,
Yeah.
and on a national level, we have to have more
I
funding.
think the problem is people don't know that there's a problem.
They don't know, and that brings me up to something else too that I wanted to ask you. I'm really amazed how getting out of the military, how many do not know what their benefits are.
Yeah. I mean,
They
don't-
have no clue. So I'm thinking you either don't understand, or and they don't know where they're going to go, because that particular trade that they have learned in the military for that particular task during their term, and they come out, where are you going to get a job?
Yeah.
Who needs that particular task?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, we actually had a veteran who was losing his house. and he didn't realize 100%. It was, I think at the time, and it might still be there, at $3,600 a month. He didn't know he was entitled to that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what saved his house.
Yeah. See, I think the
So
problem with that
where is that? Where's that gap?
well, I think that problem was created by 21 years of war. That the government wasn't ready to treat that many people. And another thing they weren't thinking about was TBI.
Yeah.
Nobody thought that TBI was going to be like it wasn't something that we paid attention to. When I was a medic in the early 2000s, we weren't taught anything besides diagnose a concussion. If he's concussed, make him sleep it off. You're not even supposed to sleep it off. There's so many things we haven't understood about it. So 21 years of just TBI totally overwhelmed the system enough where they're like, you need to make sure that it really is, they're not just lying.
Right.
And then that kind of compounded the problem even more. And I think that culture was created through 21 years of war that we just weren't ready for
Right.
in the recovery phase. And that still is causing problems. I think a lot of suicides are probably related to TBI, where people are having seizure type activity.
Yeah.
But we're still not even catching that because the system is just so overwhelmed with all the problems. And then they try not to advertise all the benefits, because if everybody were to take all those benefits, where's the money coming from? And I think
Exactly.
that's the problem the government's having right now with it. So they're trying to push as much as they can away.
And it's not going to go away. You
No.
know, pushing it away is not going to make
No.
the issues disappear. And you know, I received a phone call. I was referred to from a couple up in Tallahassee, and they live here locally. And their son, Air Force, Black Hawk pilot, only have 4 more years to go to have the 30 years in. And she was very interested in DDS for vets. I asked her why, and she said, my son killed himself yesterday. And God bless, he went ahead and she sent me the video. He actually sent his parents a video apologizing, and he just couldn't do it. He was asking while he was in the military, I need help, I need help. He had gone on so many tours, he had seen so much. He needed the help, needed the help. They weren't giving him the help, and of course, they can't give him the pills. He's a pilot.
Yeah.
So where do you, that always baffled me, that why couldn't you have found the help? And so I think it was almost 6 to 8 weeks before they could get his body here. And then I was invited to the services, and it was heartbreaking. It was just, here it was, a young guy, so talented and career, and only 4 more years to go, and he was begging for help.
But in a system that's overwhelmed,
you
even in the
know.
military.
And
It's crazy.
but to me, when you being overwhelmed, okay, so that's the problem. Let's get a solution.
Yeah.
And that's what's the aggravating part. We need to have more attention.
I think more people
or-
like us need to push it.
Yes, to get the solution.
Yeah.
And to work on that. So, what? So you said 14 years.
Yeah.
14 years that you were in there. What would you advise military guys? Because you know, you got some that maybe put 2 years in. You have yourself 14. I've got a guy on my board, 35 years.
Yeah. I don't know how he made it that long.
So you have those different levels. What would you suggest to a veteran getting out? I know they have the Skill Bridge program, but what would you suggest, or what can we do, even as DDS for Vets and all these other wonderful veteran nonprofits? What is it that we can do to help?
Man, I think the problem is getting those veterans into the organizations, or at least enticed to be involved in those organizations before they transition. Because if they get out and go through one day of shit, they're gone. You're never going to find them. They're going to hide. They'll
Okay.
hide until they have a problem hard enough or bad enough to make them tell people that there's a problem.
Okay.
But if you can't catch them while they're in the Army or in the military, and right when they separate, they know they can go to said organization for that help, then you're going to lose them. That's the problem. That's where I think the big disconnect is. It's the 2 weeks of nothingness that can push somebody over the edge. And it doesn't mean they're going to kill themselves in 2 weeks. It just means they're going to start taking pills, and you're going to
Right.
lose them
Right.
because they will slowly disappear.
And that's the sad part, because the pills it's a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
And when they're, I mean, I've talked to guys that were 37 pills a day.
Yeah, I was. Oh yeah,
I
I
mean,
was up there.
and that is, you know, I can't even imagine 37 pills. How do they really interact with each other? There's got to be something there that causes
Yeah.
other issues.
Oh yeah.
I just can't believe that all 37 pills is something that helps. It just,
Trust me, I was doing the same thing. I was dumping pills into my hand, not even counting them. At the end, when I was reaching the point where I was overdosing and taking too many pills, obviously. And it's not about anything but numbing everything.
right,
And then when you
exactly.
come off the medication, when I came clean, I was my mind was like, whoa, wait a minute, none of that stuff was fixed. I still got all this pain in my shoulder. So there's like 5 years of my life I thought I was getting better. None of the mental stuff was dealt with because I was on pills every time I was at therapy. So I'm just like blah blah blah, whatever you want to hear, like keep me going. And nothing was fixed. It was 5 years of my life I just wasted as far as my recovery because of pills.
Wow. So, where do you go from here? What are your plans from here?
Well, I'm trying to decide how I want to take this platform we created on the show.
Okay.
I don't think reality TV is my thing. I don't I'm a little polarizing and it gets annoying. So I think I want to continue the platform because a lot of vets are paying attention to what we're doing. So we are going to go gold mining this season and starting a podcast to try and get people's stories out because I love
Right.
the power of a story is just immense. And through the podcast, just kind of work from there. I want to start aligning with a couple of nonprofits and organizations that help vets, and just trying to help vets in other ways. I think the TV thing was great. Gold mining is good too, but I don't have that sense of fulfillment that I was talking about earlier.
Right.
I want to really feel it, and so I guess I'm at a crossroads, moving on, but I know I want to help vets, and that's pretty much all that matters to me.
Oh, I think that's great. And so we have invited Fred and Kara to our gala, which is going to be in October. So if you want to, I'm really going to put them on the spot. I'm putting them both on the spot right now.
We'll go to the gala
So,
for sure.
so he's going to
I'll
be
be
there.
done mining,
so
so
you're going to be able to go ahead and meet him in person. And we've got some great special guests that will be coming this year. And we have a lot of great announcements that are coming out. But thank
being
you
modest,
so
there's
much.
some really amazing vets that are going to be there. I mean, there's a lineup of people.
There is, and you're going to be one of the really special ones. And we're going to go ahead and get you up there, and it will be really nice and such an eye opener. But you know, the gala that night, as many of you have attended, you know, it's a night all about the veterans. It's all about the veterans. So thank you very much. It was great to meet you and Kara.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
And we're here for you. Anything that you need, we're here for you. And until next time, thank you.